all the comic fans, Marvel geeks, and all the nerds in between. Welcome to another episode of the Vigilante Vibes podcast, where we talk all things Marvel along with other fandoms, but without the toxicity that's taken up way too much space in each and every fandom. I'm your host, Megan Nicole, and we're here to have another episode of Elevating the Nerdy Voices of the Rainbow, where we lift up the voices of the LGBTQIA plus communities. Today, representing the ACE community, I have Simon joining me. Welcome, Simon.
Hello.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am Ace, Simon, Mexican-American. I'm going to be 40 next month. Good Lord.
What?
Yeah, I know.
I would have guessed late 20s.
Oh, God, no. I wish. Huge nerd, as you know, obviously, because I'm on this podcast. But Spider-Man is my favorite character of all time, ever since I was a kid. So he's my favorite homie. I love other stuff like anime, video games, reading, books, writing, too, which, you know, something I like to do. And probably my favorite pastime, music. So, all forms. I love music.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that about you. So you said you're in the ACE community. I know there's a lot of confusion that goes on with the education of that community just because, like me personally, I don't know much about it because it's not something I can relate to. Would you be able to explain it a little bit?
Yeah, good Lord, it took me so long to figure it out because one of the things I found quite quickly upon, you know, getting into groups and whatnot is that asexuality is a huge spectrum. I mean, it's different for so many people. Like, there's people who are completely sex repulsed. There's, you know, the demisexuals. That's like people who it takes a certain connection to find like sexual attraction and whatnot. It's not just any other person. Some people experience no sexual attraction whatsoever. Me, it's more surface level, and everything else it's more like it looks good on paper, but not like, you know, not an actual thing that I would like to do. But it's a huge spectrum, and I'm still learning. I mean, you know, I'm part of a couple of asexual groups on Facebook, and it's like every day I find out a completely new side to it, and it's really fascinating, to be honest.
That's really cool. So, are you attracted to other people? Like, you find people attractive, but you're not like sexually attractive to them.
Yeah. I mean, there's people like I could say like, hey, that person's pretty hot, and you know, whatever. But put me in the same room with them, and it's like, no,
Nothing.
There's nothing there. It's like no, and like I said, there's some people who are completely different. It varies from person to person, but for so long, I thought there was something wrong with me because of that. Because we live in a very hypersexualized world. I mean, sex sells and whatnot. So for the longest time, I was like, well, there's got to be something wrong. And once I started learning about asexuality, it was like, oh, that's what it is. So I thought I was just a plain old boring straight guy.
Well, it's interesting because I didn't realize it was such a huge spectrum, or there were so many different types of it. It feels like something like you said, it took you so long to come to terms with it. I feel like it's so hard to figure it out because you're like, am I just picky? Do I just not like this gender or this person? Am I just really hard to please?
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Definitely a lot of that in my head. And then when you do experience like sexual attraction or something, you start questioning like, well, maybe I'm full of crap. Maybe I'm not asexual. Maybe not. But like when I started reading more about it, it was like, oh, so there's I guess the best way, subgenres in a way. It's like, oh, okay, so yeah, there's a little big old umbrella where we all fit, and it's pretty nice. So.
Well, that's so nice that you've been able to find communities to find support.
Yeah, it definitely made me feel so much better because, in fact, I only recently found out that I'm also aromantic too. So like I experience like no romantic attraction either.
What?
Yeah, so it's arrow ace, but I still like asexual because I like the flag better.
So I've heard aromantic a few times in passing, and I've never actually met someone who's aromantic. So this is a pretty big day for me. So you have no romantic feelings whatsoever. Like you,
Yeah.
Like having a relationship just isn't it for you.
Yeah, it isn't. And the crazy thing about that is like I spent so much of my life chasing that because I thought that's what I wanted. I thought, that's normal. That's what you go over there. Go night. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
I spent so much of my life just chasing that because I thought that's what I wanted. And I mean, I got myself in deep crap into that because, I'm also BPD. So I got, hyper and ADHD as well. So it's like you get the hyperfixations on a person and it's just
Yeah.
completely downhill. But once I did a lot of introspective meditating and soul searching and whatnot, and then once it clicked, I was like, you know what? I don't see myself doing a romance thing, and it's not. For a while, it felt like it was like a self-hatred thing, like, oh, I'm always gonna be alone. And then once I did basically a brain reset through meditation and whatnot, it clicked on me like, no, I'm fine being alone. I'm happy. Like I can't, for the life of me, picture myself coming home and there's that same person there. Like a person I like and I adore, and it doesn't. I love my alone time. I value it, and it's. I remember once I was in a situationship with somebody, and we woke up the next morning, and she was like making like, let's go do this, let's go do that. I'm like, I want to go home, and she was just like, why? I'm like, because it's my home. I like my home. I want to be alone. Jeez, and it's those little pieces of the puzzle that finally started clicking, and I was like, you know what? I'm cool being me. I have everything I need with my friends. That's all that I want is just friends. I adore my friends. I wouldn't be alive if it weren't for my friends, and I get what I need from them. So.
Wow.
And of course,
Of course, the animals. They always give us everything we need.
Mm-hmm.
So, does that mean you have no feelings towards wanting children or any of that?
Yeah, definitely no children. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is TMI, but I did have a vasectomy. And that was before I found out I was asexual. Now it's like, well, I didn't really need to do that now, did I? But I mean, it's just one of those things. But that came from not wanting to pass down my mental illness to anyone. Like no, it's such a pain in the butt for me. I can't imagine doing some kid growing up and then resenting me like, why did you have me? And I'm adopted too. So there was a time when I said, you know what, I'll adopt. And then it just became like, no, it's such a parenting from my friends that I've seen is a 24/7 job.
Yep.
And I don't want to be in that. I mean, call me selfish, call me whatever. It's just not for me. I like being able to say, hey, I want to go do this, so I'm going to go do that. And
Honestly, there's so many people in the world that have had kids that are like, oh, well, I guess society says I need to have kids, or someone I'm with wants to have kids, and it's like it's not fair to the kids. So I'm always of the mind, if you don't 100% want kids, don't have them. Don't put them through that. In parenting, you have to want to parent to do a good job. Like right now, I'm parenting. My daughter is in the room with me right now on her Kindle, just staring at me. So.
yeah.
24/7 all the damn time. So, and I don't think that's selfish not to want kids.
Yeah.
You like your alone time, and that's perfectly fine. Why? What if you have a kid that is the exact opposite, that wants you to take them out, that wants you to go do all these things, that wants you to be in a relationship? That's a lot for someone. That's not fair to make you do it just because society says you have to have a kid.
Yeah. And I used to have friends who would like say, no, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. They finally got on my side, because they also had the society thing on them too. And I was just like, no, man, I like being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And also not to get too, political. This is a scary world. I don't want, I don't want to be going to like work or whatever, living through my day wondering, is my kid safe? Is my kid safe? Is my kid safe? It's just too scary to bring up a kid and like that. And yeah, it's just not for me.
Totally fair. I get it. Every second, even when they're in the room with me, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, are you okay? It's
Yeah, I know.
terrifying.
When my best friend her kids, so one thing I learned real quickly is when it gets quiet, something might be going on. Cause she had toddlers and whatnot, so it was like, oh God, it's quiet. What are they up to?
Yeah, no, that's the scary time of the day that they should make horror movies on. When it's
Mm-hmm.
quiet, they're doing something horrible, something terrible.
Yep.
One time, my daughter was quiet for about 2 minutes, and somehow she opened a lock to go down to our basement to sneak out the back door that was locked and ran out and
Jesus.
played outside on the trampoline in 2 minutes. And it
My
was that was the
God.
only 2 minutes it was quiet that day. So kids are
Jesus Christ.
terrifying. So I totally
Yeah.
get it. But with you being asexual, you do have some great representation, like Yelena and
Yes.
Gwenpool.
Yes, and it's so refreshing to start seeing that representation because it's barely there. I mean, we still got a long way to go and whatnot. I think the first character I saw that was asexual on a TV show was Todd from BoJack Horseman, and for me, I mean, I was like, "Wow, that's freaking awesome, man!"
That is. I didn't realize. I don't know what that is, to be honest with
Oh,
you.
it's a Netflix show with Will Arnett, and it's a good show, but it will mess with you mentally because it's definitely about dealing with the spirals of depression and whatnot. I mean, it's a funny show, but I mean, it doesn't pull the punches when it comes to that dark stuff and whatnot.
Well, if you'd like to know some other forms of representation, Jughead from Archie's Comics, asexual. I didn't know that. That's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, and Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z.
Well, now I have to watch Dragon Ball Z.
You've never watched Dragon Ball Z? Even I've watched Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, everybody was like, because you like anime, you don't like. Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's just when it was airing when I was a kid, because this was before streaming and whatnot.
Yeah.
It came on while I was on my way home from school, so I never got to see it. And then by the time that I was an adult and whatnot, there's like 500 episodes. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through that.
And now there's so many other shows dedicated to it, and like there's just so much. It's just
Yep.
it's like the Star Wars TV show, all of that whole thing.
Yeah.
I've watched all the movies, but the shows, there's too many shows now. There's no way to go back unless
Yeah.
you like take a month off life.
Yeah, I actually did a marathon recently of just the Skywalker stuff, and it was, I threw in the Obi-Wan show too, but I was like, I'm still not getting the complete picture because there's like several other shows, and I was like, I'm gonna limit to it because I don't got the time for that, man. That's just too much. Even the MCU has gotten so big now. I'm like, I think when the Infinity Saga was coming out, it sounded like a fun idea. Like, let's watch them all. Now it sounds like a nightmare to me. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good with like one phase or whatever.
Yeah, to really, unless you're blessed with that time, there's absolutely no freaking way. You have to like really pick a character and just watch the movies therein. Like, I had the toughest time catching up just watching the movies for Brave New World.
Yeah.
I finished The Falcon and the Winter Soldier like the night before I went to see the movie, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I still need to rewatch that. I just don't have Disney Plus right now. But I still was able to enjoy the movie, but I feel like I'll like enjoy it even more once I rewatch that.
So you did like the movie?
I loved it, and it's weird because I didn't really have a whole lot of interest in it at first. So the trailer started coming out. I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. And I saw it twice on opening weekend in the IMAX. And
Oh,
it was just amazing. I loved it. Flawed, but
of course.
I'm
Every
not, I'm
movie
not
is
expecting
flawed.
it to be perfect. But
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. It was really good.
I thought it was a lot of fun too, and I think it really signified why Sam has always been deserving of the shield.
Yeah.
Other people, they really fucking hated that movie. It's kind of
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking at the discourse online, particularly from, I want to say, more respected publications are just coming out with hit pieces. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
it's not that-
IGN.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, girl, it is not that bad. Jesus, I mean, it's enjoyable. It's a popcorn movie. It was fun, and there's good overlying messages in it, and I like that. It's just a regular guy.
Yeah,
He's got
and
tech and everything, but I'm like, do you say the same thing about Batman? Come on.
Iron Man.
hmm
Like,
they're like, oh, he can't take a hit from the Hulk. I'm like, bro, I mean, Iron Man should have been dead a long time ago for the hits that he takes. Just from the first movie alone, when he was in that giant suit getting hit by all that, should have been dead. But nobody says anything.
it's funny. A good way to find out which pages are kind of full of crap about this is to look at their past reviews, because speaking of IGN, they gave Wonder Woman 84 an 8.
Yep.
And they gave Captain America Brave New World a 5.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, someone's
no.
not keeping the energy here.
Exactly. I was like, there's no way that it's, Wonder Woman 84 was just so bad.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, IGN has always been going down. I'll never forget their review of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, the remakes. They said they gave it a bad review. They said there's too much water in this game. I'm like, too much water? Okay. And that became like a meme for a good while too. And it's like, no.
Yeah, I understand. Like, not all these reviews are done by the same people at IGN or many of these pages, but it's like, shouldn't they be? Because it's very clear that you guys have very different tastes and everything, and people are going by your recommendations whether to see the movie or not.
Yeah. It does seem like people are getting kind of tired of it, and they're just going, because, I mean, everyone, well, according to publications, they were all expecting this movie to bomb. And people have been showing up. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe they're finally getting tired of it. Like, let's just go make up our own mind. Shoot.
Which, like, finally.
Yes.
Some of us here genuinely like going to the movies. I like going to see these movies. I love Marvel movies. There's been one I've hated, but I still I'm excited I saw it in the theater, because that's a whole different experience.
It is.
So just go make up your own damn mind. We're all adults here.
Yeah, and I have an AMC movie pass because I'm just in love with movies. It's been my safe space to get away from everything since I was a little kid. It's kind of weird to think about in retrospect how different it was in the 90s, that my parents would drop off a 10-year-old by themselves at the movies in the hood. Like, I think about that now, I'm like, oh God, no, I would never do that. But I mean, I loved just being in that dark room and just going into another world. And once I got that movie pass, I'm like, I'll go see something I don't even know anything about. I'm like, no, I'll just go. That's my happy place.
I am not that adventurous. Like, if I see a movie I don't like, I'll be like, I want that 2 hours back.
Yeah.
But I love movie theaters, but God, life just gets in the way. There's just no way.
I'm super introverted, so this is literally the only time I really get out, and I take the bus. The movie theater I go to is actually in a very touristy part of San Antonio, right downtown, Riverwalk and everything. So I get to see nice views and whatnot when I'm on down there.
Aww,
but there's a lot of movies that I've seen that I know if I didn't have that pass, I wouldn't have even bothered. I would have waited for streaming.
What other movies have you watched recently that you liked?
Let me see. What have I seen? I saw Love Hurts, the new Ke Huy Quan movie, which that one I probably should have waited for streaming. But I mean, like I said, I got out of the house and whatnot. I want to see this movie called The Amateur. I saw the Led Zeppelin documentary in IMAX.
Oh.
And yeah, I think Cap was the last movie I saw, I think.
Wow, so you really have seen a lot of different movies.
To the point that I've actually forget. I'd have to look at my AMC thing and what have I seen at this point?
Well, what movies are you excited for that's coming?
I want to see The Monkey, which I already got my ticket to see this weekend. I'm dying to see that movie.
I've seen a lot of talk about it, but I know nothing about it.
Yeah, because, I love horror, so.
Oh, it's a horror movie. Yeah.
And I just, Tatiana Maslany is in it. I think I said her name right.
I have no idea. I've avoided saying her name for so long now. Because
I adore her. I mean, just from She-Hulk, which is so overly hated, and Orphan Black. If you've never seen that show, oh my God, she's amazing in it. She plays 12 different clones of herself or something like that.
Dude, that takes such range. And there's
It
no
does.
way. It's crazy. But she had me cracking up recently because someone asked her, like, would you come back for Daredevil Born Again? And she is so unserious, and I love her for it. And she said, would I be born again? I have plenty of bones in my body. And it's like, Tatiana, you know, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I love her. I adore her. She was in town, I think, last year for Comic-Con. I was like, God, I want to meet her so bad. I bet she's super cool.
I've heard she's so sweet when you meet her, like the kindest person.
Yeah, I love meeting these people, even though I've only met like a small handful. But I always go in with like this expectation, like lower your expectation because they might be a jerk. But I've had nothing but good experiences, and I would love to just talk to them. I don't even have to talk about what your movies and whatnot. Like one person I would love to just shoot the shit with is Harrison Ford. He seems like a riot. Everyone paints him as a curmudgeon and whatnot, but watch him on Conan O'Brien. Anytime he's done an interview with Conan O'Brien, the dude's hilarious. He just has a very dry sense of humor and a very low tolerance for bullshit.
So, a funny story about him. One of our admins in the Facebook group, the Nerd Haven, he was minding his own business at a bar in Montana. Who walks in is Harrison Ford with a bunch of people, and he is wasted. He is so drunk. He does not know nothing, doesn't know his name, nothing. And he was there for all of like 20 minutes. Didn't drink or anything, just sat at the bar, wasted, and then left.
Oh my God.
And
dude.
I didn't believe it until I saw the video of him just walking in. And then, like, he was sitting at, our admin was sitting at the bar with him, and he's like, I might as well not have even been there. He has no idea I was there.
That's friggin' awesome, man.
Yeah, he's so old, and he's still getting it like that.
Yep, and he's still good. He's on the show called Shrinking, which, if you have Apple TV Plus or could get access to it, recommend it. It is the best thing he's done, which is pretty crazy to say given how illustrious his career is, but he's incredible in it. It's just so good. And Jason Segel, he's Seagal, one of the two.
Seagal. Yeah. I don't know now.
I
feel like I've said it both ways my whole life.
Yeah. He's really good in it. It's a really good show. I can't recommend it enough. It's really good.
I haven't actually heard of it. I gotta check it out.
It's good. It's about they're all therapists, and he gets a little too involved in their lives and whatnot. So, but it's really good. Harrison is just hilarious in it.
He is that guy who I guess is planning on acting till the day he dies. Because my gosh, seeing him in Brave New World, I was like, I'm stressed right now. Like,
for real,
y'all leave this man alone.
But he seems to be having so much fun in the press junkets I've seen. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen this man smile that much in a good while. Jesus.
Yeah, and he does seem like super happy, and he was like, I didn't know I was going to be the Red Hulk when I signed on. That was just a bonus. And it's like, dude.
Yeah, he said that he just signed on because it seemed fun. That's it. He didn't even look at the script. I was like, that's pretty dope.
He's just doing whatever he wants. Everything's a side quest now.
Yep.
He's done everything. Though. Oh,
he's
yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
earned it. I mean, my God.
He's like Shaq. Just the most random things possible.
Never know where you're going to see him.
No, you don't. Well, so it's been so much fun having you here, talking to you. You're an absolute joy. Please feel free to come back anytime. You're amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Is there anywhere you want our listeners to find you, or...
Just look up the Hood Goblin. You'll find whatever you find. One of these days, I'm gonna get my music back on Spotify. I'm trying to get back into music making, but got other things going on right now. But yeah, you can just look me up on whatever platform you want, and if I'm there, you'll find it.
Well, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was so much fun. Thank you for listening. Of course. Thank you for listening to this new episode of Vigilante Vibes. Wherever you're listening to this episode, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my amazing guests or any future episode. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a marvelous night.